Welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at a movie script excerpt that I think is just a fantastic example of building suspense.
Yeah, it's really a page turner, even though it's, for film.
Right, exactly.
But really captivating.
So to set the scene, we open on our main character, Felipe, who is startled awake by a text message. But this isn't, just any good morning text message. This is from Anna, and it ends abruptly, mid-sentence.
Ooh.
Faye. I still love you, sin.
Oh, wow. Talk about a hook.
Right. I mean, if that's not a hook, I don't know what is.
It really makes you want to know more.
Yeah. And what I think is so interesting is that the writer doesn't bog us down with lengthy descriptions or, backstory right away. Yeah. Instead, we get these quick snapshots of Felipe waking up and reaching for his phone. That photo of him and Anna on the screen, it feels so real, so relatable.
Yeah, it does. And I think what's so smart about that is it really does mirror our experience in the world, especially in today's day and age with instant communication. We are gleaning information like in these little bursts and fragments, right? And I think that lends itself well to the pacing of this narrative too.
You're so right. It's like we're right there with Felipe. And speaking of momentum, the writer uses that back and forth texting between Felipe and Anna, and each message is like this little breadcrumb hinting at their past relationship, and the possibility of reconciliation. And it's almost manipulative the way the writer makes us crave that happy ending.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And one of the ways I think that the writer does that is by using this technique of delayed gratification. So we see Felipe start to type out this really sweet response to Anna, right? But before we see his full message, the writer cuts away to a news report that's flashing on his TV screen in the background, talking about a spike in crime.
Yeah, that's subtle but effective.
Right.
I mean, it's this little seed of foreshadowing.
Totally. It's like a little bit of, dramatic irony almost.
Right.
Where we know something that Felipe doesn't quite know yet, and the tone shifts very subtly from romantic and hopeful to this more ominous tone.
Yeah, I think that's so reflective of life, right? Because even in our most personal and, intimate moments, you can't escape what's happening in the world around you.
For sure.
And that brings us to one of the most relatable and clever techniques I think the writer uses. Anna is typing.
Oh my God.
Those three little dots become this agonizing symbol of anticipation.
It's so true. I hate it, but I love it when writers do that.
It is so true.
It's like...
because we all live that,
We do. We've all been there.
Every day.
Just staring at our phones.
Waiting for that text message. And by leaving us hanging, the writer is mirroring Felipe's own emotional state. He's anxious, he's hopeful, and most importantly, he's at the mercy of Anna's next words.
Yeah, like on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Right. And then just when we think we're about to get some answers, Anna stops responding altogether. And suddenly, that light, flirty tone of their exchange takes this dark turn.
Yeah, you can feel the temperature in the room drop like 10 degrees.
Exactly what was once this hopeful anticipation becomes this sense of dread. Unanswered.
Yeah. Calls
a chilling voicemail message. Every detail adds another layer of unease, another question mark hanging over Anna's fate.
And that pacing, it's perfect, right? Because we're getting just enough to keep us hooked.
Yeah.
But those crucial details are missing, so our minds are already filling in the blanks, right? And it's all building up to this climax.
And then just when we think the tension can't get any higher, we get the most unexpected interruption. A text from Felipe's mother.
Oh my God.
Talk about a curveball.
No, I did not see that coming.
And it throws us off balance, just like Felipe, because we're so laser focused on Anna. What's happened to her? Is she okay?
Or is she coming?
Right, and suddenly we're reminded that, there's this whole other world out there with other people and relationships, and, those impact the situation.
Absolutely. And what's interesting, too, is we don't actually see what the mother's message says right away. It's like this delayed reveal.
Ugh. It's like the writer knows exactly how to push our buttons.
Exactly.
It would have been so easy to just show us the message right then and there and let the drama unfold. But by withholding that information, even for just these few lines,
it's torture.
I know the writer creates this excruciating sense of anticipation and dread.
I know, and it works. It's so effective.
It's so effective.
It's like masterful manipulation.
It really is. And then finally, the reveal, the mother's text message. Anna suffered an accident. They can't revive her.
Oh my God.
I mean, talk about a punch to the gut.
I know. I felt that one.
All that buildup, all that hope for this, reconciliation, and it just comes crashing down.
In one sentence.
In one sentence.
Wow.
And then that final image of Anna's unread message on Felipe's phone.
Ooh, so haunting.
It's just this haunting symbol of their unfinished conversation. All the things left unsaid. And it really makes you think about all the times in your own life when you might have missed an opportunity to connect with someone, to tell them how you feel.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really potent reminder that life is precious and we should cherish the people that we love.
Absolutely. And then just when we think we've reached the emotional climax of this story, the writer throws in another twist. Felipe wakes up sweating and terrified. Was it all just a nightmare? A premonition?
Ooh, a cliffhanger?
The ending is left deliberately ambiguous, and I love that.
I do too.
Because it makes us confront our own fears and uncertainties.
Right, like is this just Felipe's anxieties about losing Anna, or is it something more?
Yeah, is there something deeper going on? Is this a glimpse into a darker reality?
Right, and it's all left up to us to decide.
I love how it plays with our expectations, because just when we think we've reached a sense of closure,
We get thrown right back in.
we're right back into the thick of it.
Into the mystery.
Right, it's unsettling, but it makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you question like what is real and what's not. And it taps into this really primal fear, I think, that we all have of the unknown.
Yes, and by using the framework of a nightmare, the writer allows us to kind of explore those fears in this, safe, contained environment.
It's true. It's like we can be scared, but we know it's not really happening to us.
And I think that's what's so powerful about this excerpt.
Yeah.
It's not just entertainment. It's an invitation.
To think.
To think, right?
Analyze.
To go deeper, to become a part of the story. And I think that's why it resonates so deeply with me, because it's not afraid to ask those tough questions, to delve into the darkness.
It's real.
It's real. And we recognize ourselves in Felipe's anxieties, his need to connect, his fear of loss. But at the same time, we're also confronted with this uncomfortable truth that sometimes, those connections are broken and those fears are realized.
Just the fragility of life.
It is. And yet there's this strange beauty in the way that this story unfolds, right? Like the writer manages to find this little glimmer of hope, the sense of transcendence, even in the face of tragedy.
And I think that hope comes from the act of storytelling itself.
That's beautiful.
Like by sharing Felipe's experience, the writer is giving us this way to process our own emotions and fears.
And reminding us that we're not alone.
Absolutely.
So as we move into the next section of this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. What stories are you telling yourself? What fears are you holding on to?
That's a good one.
And how can you use the power of storytelling to confront those fears, to find meaning in your own experiences, and to connect with others on a deeper level?
Love it.
We'll be right back after a short break.
Yeah, it's like we're holding our breath waiting to see what the mom has to say.
You know what, as a reader, that was the moment that I was like, okay, this writer knows what they're doing.
Right.
Because it would have been so easy to just reveal that message right away.
Totally.
But holding back just for a little bit longer,
Uh-huh.
it just intensifies everything.
Oh, yeah, it's like psychological torture.
It is.
But the good kind.
But in a good way, right?
Right. Like in a masterful way.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing with us, but we like it.
And then we get the reveal. The mother's text message. Anna suffered an accident. They can't revive her.
Devastating.
I know, all that build up, all that hope just gone.
In one sentence.
In one sentence. And then that final image of Anna's unread message on Felipe's phone.
Oh, man. It's just so symbolic.
It's haunting, isn't it?
Yeah, like all those things left unsaid.
Yeah, and it just makes you think about all the times, in your own life where you maybe didn't say what you wanted to say to someone. Or, you missed your chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like this reminder that life is fragile and we need to cherish the people that we love.
Absolutely.
And then just when we think we've reached peak heartbreak, the writer hits us with another twist. Felipe wakes up sweating, terrified.
Oh.
Was it all just a nightmare? Or was it some kind of premonition? The ending is left deliberately ambiguous.
Oh, I love that.
Me too.
It's like now we have to confront our own fears.
Exactly right. Like, is this just Felipe's fear of losing Anna? Right. Or is there something more to it?
Or is there something supernatural happening here? We don't know.
It's up to us to decide.
And I love how it plays with our expectations, right? Because just when we think we've reached this point of closure, we're thrown right back into that uncertainty.
Right. It's like we're back at square one.
And it's unsettling, but it's also thought-provoking.
For sure, it makes you question everything.
Yeah, like what is reality? What's a dream? And it taps into this primal fear we all have, of the unknown.
Absolutely. It's that feeling of like something's lurking just out of sight.
And by using the framework of a nightmare, the writer allows us to explore those fears in a way that feels safe.
It's true. It's like we can be scared, but we know it's not real.
And I think that's part of the genius of this excerpt.
Yeah.
It's not just entertainment. It's like this invitation to go deeper, to question everything.
To think for ourselves.
Exactly. And that's why it resonates so much with me. It's not afraid to explore the darkness.
The dark side of human nature.
Yes, and we see ourselves in Felipe Wright. His anxieties, his desire to connect, his fear of losing someone.
Oh, absolutely.
But it also forces us to confront the fact that those connections can be broken.
And sometimes our worst fears do come true.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
It is.
But there's also a beauty in the way this story unfolds. Like, even in the face of tragedy, the writer finds this glimmer of hope.
It's like a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's still beauty to be found.
And I think that hope comes from the act of storytelling itself.
Yeah, like by sharing Felipe's experience, the writer is giving us permission to feel our own emotions.
And to know that we're not alone in those feelings.
Exactly.
So I want to leave you with this thought. What stories are you telling yourself?
Oh.
What fears are you holding on to? And how can you use storytelling to confront those fears?
Powerful stuff.
To find meaning in your own experiences and to connect with others.
I think that's a perfect place to end this deep dive.
Me too. It's been a pleasure as always. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Yeah, it's like it just gets under your skin and makes you think.
It really does. And it's interesting because, at first glance, this excerpt seems pretty straightforward, right? It's a love story, a story about loss. But the more you dig into it, the more you realize there's all these layers.
Like an onion.
Exactly, like peeling back the layers of an onion. And with each layer, you uncover, these new complexities and deeper meanings.
It's true. And it's like the writer's inviting us to go on this journey with them.
Yes.
Not just through the story itself, but through our own emotions, our fears, our anxieties.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just entertainment. It's an exploration of what it means to be human.
Exactly.
And I think that's why it resonates so deeply with me.
Yeah.
Because it's not afraid to ask those tough questions about life and death and, the things that scare us.
And it does it in a way that feels both relatable and terrifying at the same time.
Right.
Like we see ourselves in Felipe, but we also see our worst fears playing out.
It's like a reminder that life is unpredictable. And sometimes the things that we're most afraid of are the things we have the least control over.
That's deep.
But even in the face of all that uncertainty, I still find this strange beauty in the way the story unfolds.
You do.
Like the writer manages to find this glimmer of hope, this sense of transcendence, even in the midst of tragedy.
And I think that hope ultimately comes from the power of storytelling itself.
I agree.
Like by sharing Felipe's story and his pain, the writer is giving us a way to process our own emotions.
And reminding us that we're not alone.
Right, even when we feel like we are.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this final thought. What stories are you telling yourself? What fears are you holding on to? And how can you use the power of storytelling to, confront those fears, to find meaning in your own experiences, and to connect with others on a deeper level? I think that's something worth thinking about.
I agree. It's all about finding those connections.
Yeah, and remembering that even in the darkest of times, there's always a story to be told and a light to be found.
Beautifully said.
Thank you for joining us for another deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.